Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, to this small lecture about parliaments. And today we're going to discuss about the parliaments of today and the parliaments of tomorrow, the parliament of the future, or the so-called smart parliament approach. But let's start with what we have going on today. And in order to debate about the parliament of today, one needs to have in mind what kind of challenges the parliament today faces. And these are no others like from the challenges that the parliamentary functions themselves face. And we are talking here about the legislative function, the oversight function, and maybe the parliamentary communication function, which could be related also to parliamentary diplomacy. So these are the main sections of parliament. Of course, there are others. And of course, in recent years, there will be more developing and emerging. But let's stick to them as the basic, let's say, dimensions of parliament that need to be discussed in order to see how parliaments can move forward in a seamless way. And let's start about the digital transformation of the legislative process. Parliaments are around for more than 2 centuries, and for pretty much most of this time, they have been using the same methods and approaches when it comes to the procedures. Of course, there are plenty of theories and plenty of techniques, legislative techniques that have changed things. But essentially, parliaments used paper, and they have moved around the laws and draft laws and bills in paper in order for them to be enacted. This has slightly changed with in the 80s and the 90s, where digitized documents have been developed, and but in essence, the handling of laws has not changed. I would say that the same is true also for the other function, for the oversight function. The questions, the parliamentary questions, primarily the written ones, have not changed in essence much until recently. Essentially the same is true for the greater parliamentary administration. So the question here is, in the advent of the 21st century, how do we move on? What are the necessary steps towards digital transformation that can be conducted so that these functions first continue their role, why they were built and why they are there in the first place. And second, whether there is any possibility for man to structurally transform them in order to strengthen the institution, in order to make possible for the institution to evolve. And the answer, and this brings me to the second part of this lecture, the answer is yes. There are, in past years, there are a series of new developments that were not around, let's say 10 or 15 years ago, that make possible for parliamentary professionals, but also developers and other scientists around parliaments, that make possible to fully digitalize parliamentary processes and digitize the necessary documents that are moving, that are generated by them. And I would like to mention here just two major breakthroughs of past years. The basic one might very well be the development of a legal document standard, which is called a komantoso. This is a standard, as said, that is able to break down parliamentary documents into discrete and distinct elements that can be identified by other systems. For instance, laws are being broken down in titles, in parts, in articles, in single passages, and also elements, internal elements of the law can be tagged, can be highlighted, so to say, so that systems outside the parliament can identify these elements and perform operations on these elements. If one uses such standards and creates standardized documents, this has a profound effect in lawmaking, for instance, because it is possible to create open legal data. So laws broken down in data and legal data that are open in the sense that any system in the world that speaks the language a komantoso, which is a standard, as said, can identify the same elements and compare them. And based on this, on these operations, one can find more about the law, one can inform better the citizens and the stakeholders about how the law has been built. And maybe more importantly, one may build systems that evaluate the implementation of the law, how the law is performing. And the second, this is the first, let's say, thing that is new. The second one are the tools that have been built that work together with the standard. And one of the very interesting tools, and we could talk about many others, but let's stick to these two elements, the language and the tool that utilizes it, is called LEOS. LEOS now is an authoring tool. It is a tool that can be used to write laws. And the reason why this is important is because it is open source. So any organization, be it a parliament or ministry or any other governmental agency, can use it in order to draft documents, legal documents, and it can adjust the tool so that it fits its purposes. Of course, having these two elements, the tool on the one side and the language, the structured language on the other, does not mean per se or by definition that it is a walk in the park for a parliament to utilize this in order to restructure, fully digitalize its legislative process. In Greece, we have seen that early enough, but we were not able to do much about it because, and this is true in many small and medium-sized parliaments, resources are scarce. And it is not easy to invest in research and development in order to develop this kind of functionality, to utilize even existing tools, even if they are open source, and make a proof of concept. What we did is to develop, to create a so-called parliamentary spin-off. Since I have been working, and I'm still working in the Hellenic Parliament in the research service, it was tough to draw resources in order to make this kind of evaluations, system evaluations, so that our parliament can see where are the benefits from their use from such tools, or where are the issues that need to be taken care of. That's why we established, better said, a team, an interdisciplinary team, which is called the Hellenic OCR team. And we have attracted people from the private sector, from academia, but also from NGOs and international organizations on a volunteer basis. And we have put them to work together in order to develop this proof of concept that is necessary for a parliament to start positively thinking about the case. And since this team has been established 3 years ago, in 2017, more specifically, since then, we had a number of successes in the creation and evaluation of such tools, among which was the development of an instance of this tool, of the LEOS tool, for our National School of Government. So before even entering or testing these tools and approaches in operation, we tried out, so to say, in a laboratory environment. And we have proven that it is possible to adjust this tool that was originally built for the European Commission services and agencies. We have showcased that it is possible to transform it and to make it work for the Hellenic Parliament. Now, what are the challenges here? We have seen that such tools work, and we have seen that they can transform the way a country, a parliament, makes laws. And we have seen that one of the main benefits is that when you have built a law, drafted a law with such collaborative tools, that in essence, you make it instantly open. We have seen that there are innovative approaches on how to do that. For instance, in the Hellenic Parliament, we have built, some of us, a parliamentary spin-off, a so-called parliamentary spin-off, where we have involved additional private expertise and expertise from academia and other stakeholders, and used it on a voluntary basis in order to build and maintain innovative solutions, digital solutions. But where lies the innovation there? First, and this is quite profound, since the innovation lies in the fact that parliaments usually lack the necessary expertise to conduct this kind of transformation in-house. So by definition, involving external experts and bringing in knowledge that is usually not accessible by public institutions like parliaments, this creates added value for the solutions that are tested. The other innovative step is, as said in the beginning, that the solutions that we're envisaging and building, they are relying on state-of-the-art standards, like a Commandoso, for instance, or W3C standards, so the new standards for the semantic web, for instance. What this means is that our final products and services have the potential to be not only reusable, but also, by definition, open for access and open for reuse by other citizens, third parties, and governments and parliaments, obviously. Because when we started this feat, this project, the Hellenic OCR team, we said that we will try to have everything as open as possible. Our solutions are on GitHub. We try to publish as much as possible. The very fact that I'm speaking here to you is linked exactly to this basic discussion we had with my colleagues and fellow experts at the beginning. Now let's talk about the challenges that such strong approaches might have for parliaments and for the parliamentary administration. We have said that we are pursuing a very aggressive approach, also based on the fact that all emerging technologies are having an equally aggressive path. It makes no sense to be extremely cautious here when almost daily or weekly new technologies arise. And one way we figure out on how to be able to screen as many new technologies as possible is by opening up our team to as many people also as possible, as many experts and parliamentary professionals as possible. Today, our team consists of more than 40 members in 12 countries, professionals from different backgrounds and from different parliaments, professionals that might be legal experts, engineers, linguists, or political science. It doesn't matter what exactly one has studied in the past. The new tools and approaches need to be tackled as interdisciplinary as possible and as user-centric, parliamentary user-centric as possible, so that the end products and services are of maximum usage and usability for the inter-parliamentary users. But the challenges are significant, as we have seen when we have showcased our example in the National School of Governance here in Athens. We have seen that there is a huge lack of digital skills that needs somehow to be bridged. This is easier said than done. Multiple specified and customized courses with specific content need to be developed for parliaments in order for parliamentary professionals to adjust to the changing situation and to be able to acquire the new digital skills, not only to design and to develop, to help develop, but also to operate the new tools. Finally, let's talk about the future of parliaments. That's very difficult to predict what kind of tools and approaches future will bring to parliaments. This is why we have started, and it's ongoing, a global screening of the necessities of parliaments. What kinds of services might be necessary in future times. And at the same time, we will try to develop and to approximate this needs with the development on our side, with the development of new tools. Our goal is to meet somewhere in the middle. First, to find out what kind of technologies are interesting for parliaments, and then to develop proof of concepts, new tools and services that will match the needs of these future needs. This is a long road. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint or a sprint. And as we are expanding with new colleagues, with new parliaments, with new professionals, we would like also to ask you to be part of this process. We are ready to share what we have learned so far. We're ready to disseminate this information. And we are ready to show you how it has been conducted in the use case of Greece. This does not mean that this is a copy-paste solution for everybody. Parliaments and parliamentary experts will need to bring forth their ingenuity, their innovation potential, and to develop customized solutions for their institutions. But in any case, and I will close by saying that we are at your disposal to help you where needed and to communicate good and bad practice so that you don't need to make the same mistakes twice. Thank you very much.